Heyo everybody, it's Savino. Today is April 25th, 2018. I hope you're all having a great day. So what we're going to be talking about today is developing your skills as an active listener. Now, active listening is basically the process of being able to separate the individual sounds from each other when you're listening to a song. Alright? So, naturally, when we hear something, we tend to hear it as a whole. We hear it in its entirety, right? So we're not listening to just specifically what the hi-hats are doing or what the snare's doing or what the vocalist is specifically doing in the song. You know, what is the role of that instrument or the person in the song? You know, we're not necessarily listening to it like that. We're just listening to the big picture. So you have to develop that skill, especially if you want to be a beat maker, if you're an aspiring music producer, engineer. The better active listening skills you have, the better off you'll be as a music producer. Facts. So the first thing, I think the most important thing is you have to learn what kind of sound is produced by each instrument. You know, that way you can immediately have some type of mental cue that when you hear that in a song, you'd be like, oh, I know what that is. You know, so I recommend whether you download a VST plugin that is more like a workstation that has everything from strings to pianos to organs to brass to flutes, synthesizers, pads, all that. And then from there, I would just recommend just listening to the patches and kind of study them. As far as the tonality of it, you'll see there's millions of different types of tones for just the piano alone. And you know, it's really up to you as the sound designer to create the tone you want. But if you don't even know what a piano sounds like, then it's going to be difficult for you to pick that out in a song, right? Now, I know most people know what a piano sounds like, so that's good. So you kind of want to move on to strings. You know, sit down at the keyboard or sit down, you know, using your VST and your MIDI, or just make a melody using MIDI, and then just cycle through the patches and just listen to what the sound is being produced as. So if you're listening to strings, learn the difference between what a violin sounds like and a viola, and what a viola sounds like compared to a cello, and what a cello sounds like compared to a contrabass, right? So that's that. Same with, like, you know, if you want to get really picky, what's the difference between an acoustic guitar, electric guitars? You know, it's pretty apparent when you put them A and B side to side with each other. Also, if you want to get really good at that, start learning what a Telecaster sounds like compared to a Gibson. You know, so that's the same thing. Go into the brass, find out, practice listening to what a trombone sounds like relative to what a tuba sounds like, or a trumpet sounds like compared to a saxophone even, you know. So it's all about learning those sounds. That way when you hear any type of music, it doesn't matter if it's dance music, classical rock, trap, classical sitar, it doesn't matter. You can recognize what the sound is because you've practiced, you've put in that time, you've got that experience now. So when you listen to the Doors, you can recognize that there's an organ as one of the lead instruments in that band. But then you listen to Green Day, and it's going to be rock guitar or just electric guitar. You know, if you're going to be listening to David Guetta, you know it's going to be more dance music. So again, it's very much in your benefit to learn and study what kind of sound is produced by any particular instrument. Same with vocals, you know. Another good practice is starting to learn to count how many instruments are going on in a song. So, you know, I would separate the hi-hat. I would first learn what a hi-hat sounds like. It's the brightness. It sits in the high end. It's the shiny cymbal looking thing on a drum set that the drummer hits, and it makes like a bright clickies type sound. All right, so that is the hi-hat. The snare is going to be more mid-range. It can sound really open. It can sound really tight. Like, it depends on how the drummer plays. But what that does is that dictates the tempo. That kind of, the pocket is where the snare usually sits in terms of being relative to what music is being played. You know, learn what the kick sounds like. Learn what bass sounds like. And then start to count those things. You'll probably find that maybe each song has a kick, snare, hi-hat, maybe 2 different type of guitars, 1 rhythm, 1 lead, a bass guitar, and then vocals. So that's, what, 7 instruments? You'll probably be finding most songs have anywhere between 5 to 9 instruments, I would say. I mean, you're pushing that. That's because you're adding, you know, like freestyle music from like the early 90s, late 80s. Like, that has a lot of instrumentation to it, but that's part of the funkiness of it. So it all depends on your imagination and what you choose to do with it. All right? Kind of ask yourself, is this song a busy mix, or is this song an empty type of mix, or is it somewhere in between that, you know? Every song is going to be different, so it's up to you. But that's what you should be kind of listening for. Does it seem like there's a lot of things clashing with each other right at once, or does it seem like it's very empty and open? Especially like how hip-hop and trap seems to be going. It's going in this really empty, open direction, which is really dope as far as the beats go. And so, let's see. Ask yourself, what is the instrument doing? What is the instrument's purpose in this song? And what is that doing relative to the other parts of the song? Is it contrasting the other parts of the song? Is this particular sound complementing it? Is it just completely random? Is it supposed to make you feel a certain type of way? You want to start asking these kind of questions when you listen to songs, because that's going to be helping you learn about what you like as a music producer and what you are able to do, and how you could bend the rules and all that stuff. These are all tricks that are out there. When you listen to songs, it's how you can learn so much about music. Don't fall. Hey. So then, what else? Yeah, what kind of impact, like I was just saying, what kind of impact does that instrument have on the mix? Isn't it making the song seem more upbeat? Is the sound bringing it down? Is it making it darker? Is it making it brighter? What is the vocals doing? The vocal is an instrument too, so don't forget that. You know, you kind of want to separate everything, and that way you can learn, one, when you're making beats, you kind of could recognize patterns or grooves and be like, oh, I think I felt something like that in a song before. Let me develop that more, you know? It's just a good way to give you a foundation. If you're listening to the drum beat, is the drum beat steady? Or is the drum beat maybe switch up a lot? You know, I think it was the song, like, if you're listening to Waka Flocka, there's a lot of chops in the song, right? The drums stop a lot, drums start a lot. It's like a stop and go. So that's like I wouldn't consider that a steady rhythm. But if you listen to like maybe Radiohead, drums are very steady. If you listen to like a James Brown, drums are very steady in the sense of it kind of keeps this home groove. It doesn't go all over the place. There's going to be a lot of slight variations, you know, as the drummer's playing, but it's kind of sticking to one kind of maybe syncopated type of drum beat, or whatever the case may be. And when you're listening to the song, is there a lot of texture in the song? Is there a lot of detail? Is there a lot of body to the drums, or does it feel thin? How does maybe the thin drums contrast the music, vice versa? You know, did the producer, the engineer, capture a lot of texture in the vocals from the recording? Does it seem like the details coming from post-production with a lot of effects? These are things you kind of want to be listening for when you're listening to the songs. It'll teach you a lot. Learn the different types of articulations that instruments can make. You know, so like guitars could do hammer-ons, pull-offs, bend strings. You know, violin, you could play pizzicato, tremolo. Piano, you could play staccato quicker, or you could hold out with the expression pedal, or using the damper. What about the voice? Does the voice do crescendos? Is there vibrato in the tone? Is the person singing from a full voice, or are they singing from a half voice? It depends on each singer and their style and their personality. And every song itself, not just the artist, the song, the music should have a personality too. So, you know, how do they complement each other? How does the voice sit in the mix? Is it sitting higher in the mix? Does it sit lower in the mix? Does it sit really loud in the mix compared to the beat? Is the beat overpowering the vocals and the voice is kind of tucked away? These are things to think about. And now, if you answered that, well, why do you think they did that? Is it because maybe it wasn't the best recording for the vocals and they wanted the music to kind of carry it? Or maybe they were trying to go for a weird shape sounding mix? You know, it's all depends on what they were doing. But this is good. This is a good way for you to work your creativity. Does the mix have a lot of compression? Does it feel like it's really tight together? Does it feel kind of more loose and lazy? Again, is the voice getting pulled down in the mix? That would probably be from a mix of the ratio and the threshold. Is the drums getting pulled down in the mix and the voice sits high? These complement each other. What I was just asking about, how does the voice sit in the mix? Usually it's a mix of compression. It's also a mix of EQ, reverb, volume, etc. Yeah, same thing. How much reverb is on the mix? Is there a lot of reverb on the music and the voice is really dry? Is the voice got a lot of reverb? It's wet sounding, but the beat is dry. Is everything just like really wet and dreamy sounding? As far as like spacey, it's open, it's ambient. And what else? Oh, is there a lot of automation happening? Meaning, are the ad-libs in the voice going right to left, left to right? I just did that backwards. Nice. You know, what else? Is the background pads going through like some type of EQ filter where it seems like it's going really distant and then it comes back really close? Those are automations. Whether it's a live automation and they did right through the recording process, or they did it in post-production. How did another one's, how did they do the dubs, harmonies, ad-libs? How do they sit in the mix? Are they loud? Are they quiet? Every song is different. Sometimes I hear doubles that are as loud as the lead voice, and then sometimes I hear doubles that don't even, they're at least negative 10 decibels quieter than the lead. You know, so these are things you kind of think about, and this will help kind of open up your mind and at least kind of simplify the mixing process for you. So develop those skills. Tomorrow we're actually going to be listening to some songs, random songs I pick out, and we'll kind of go over active listening again in depth more. But these are the pointers. Try these out today. Let me know what you think, how they work out for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, as well as give it a like and share. And I'll talk to you guys soon.